What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the top 3 best builds in the Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So in this guide I will give you a quick overview of each setup, then I will explain what skills and upgrades should you focus on, then as well we'll see what is the best weapon for your character and how to get it, and then finally we will go over the pictos, attributes, your skill rotations, and even what luminas and your team composition should look like, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. Also, if you're interested in buying other PC or console games with 50 or 70% discount, then check out Instant Gaming. For example, I want to buy Elden Ring, so we just click on Add to Cart, then click Pay, then input our details and pay. After payment is complete, we will receive activation key, then copy and paste the key in, and it's that simple. So what are you waiting for? Click my link description and check out Instant Gaming for yourself. So let's move over to the first build, and in this team we are using the Loon, Gustavi and Melee. And when you get 4 characters, then the 4th option is your personal preference, and it won't really affect the core of our team. The main idea behind this build that we are going to be using the Luna for control and burst, then Gustav will stabilize the fight and redirect aggression, while Melee keeps momentum going, heals allies and chips in for cleanup damage. This team will play off each other beautifully, so Loon will weaken enemies, Gustav lock them down, and Melee ensures that the team keeps flowing. It's a blend of control, tempo and magic power that makes every turn feel impactful. So first up we got Loon, who thrives on deceptive speed and magic bursts. She excels at stacking quick attacks and manipulating enemy tempo. Her real strength lies in her ability to weave damage and disruption together, with spells that inflict weaken or vulnerability, and she sets them up for the rest of the team for huge payoffs. So for weapon we're using the Deminarium, that's about level 9, and with agility on C and the luck on B. Then for skills we got Rebirth, which is a resurrection and a full restore mechanic. Then we got Wildfire, which is an AoV fire spell. Next we're using the Healing Light, which is a light based single target or small AoV heal. Then we got Immolation, which is a self buff that enhances fire and gives minor healing regen. Next we got the Thunderfall, which is a heavy hitting lightning spell with a chance to stun. And lastly we got Revelization, which is a heal over time with a minor cleanse. Next we got Pictos, and we are using the Energizing Attack 1, Powerful Revive and Critical Moment. All of these are at level 7, but of course this will depend on your level. Next we got Luminas, and for the extras we got Critical Burn, Dodger, Energizing Star 2, SOS Shell and the Staggering Attack. We went with these because they give us more damage, increased healing and more AP on base attacks. Next we have attributes, and we went with 12 Vitality, 7 Might, 6 Agility and 30 Luck. Next up you're using Gustav, which is your anchor. He soaks damage, taunts enemies and provides turn control. With passive defenses and a strong synergy with the Loon debuffs, the Gustav will lock down enemies while the others deal damage safely. For his weapons we're going with the Abyssal Rem, that's level 9, and his vitality is on B and the defense on C. Then for skills we got the Lumiere Assault, which is great for critical hits. Then next we got the Overcharge, which deals high lightning based damage. Then also we got Powerful, which is a DPS increasing buff for us and allies. Next we got Marking Shot, which deals low single target lightning damage. Then we got the Recovery that heals us for 50% and gives us the spell status effects. And lastly we got the Strike Storm, which deals very high crit damage. Next up we got Pictos, and we are using Energizing Star 2, Exposing Attack and the Breaker. And then for the Luminas we got the Burning Shots, Dead Energy, Energizing Break, Marking Shots, Staggering Attack, Cleansing Tint and the Dodger. We went with these because they give us more AP to break enemy, we get increased crit chance, and even more AP for each dodge. And finally for attributes we got 23 Vitality, 13 Agility and 17 Defense. And lastly we got Mael, which is your versatile support/DPS hybrid. She boosts turn economy, provides healing over time and can deal decent AoV elemental damage when needed. She thrives when chaining actions, especially when following the Loon's debuffs. For her weapon we are going with the Bloomerum, that's level 9 and has agility and attack on C and luck on B. Then for skills we got the Engagement that deals DPS and sets enemies on fire. Next we have Pierce that deals damage and increases DPS to mark targets. Next we got the Breaking Rule that deals low single target damage and destroys shields. Then also we got the Swift Stride that deals damage and switches a stance if an enemy is burning. Then also we got the Guard Up, which is a damage reduction buff. And lastly we got Fencer's Flurry, which deals weapon elemental damage. Next up we got the Pictos, and we are going with the Attack Lifesteal, Versatile and Critical Burn. Then for Luminas we got the Dead Energy, Staggering Attack. Augmented Aim, Dodger, Rewarding Mark, and Augmented Mark. All of these bonuses will increase our crit chance, damage gives us increased base attack DPS, and provide burning so then we can set up our other skills. And finally we got attributes like 20 Vitality, 10 Might, 5 Agility, and 20 on Luck. And now finally we got rotation, so lead with the Luna for control, then use Gustav to hold the frontline aggro, and keep Mael for supporting turns. You'll need to use chain actions and combos to squeeze in big bursts or recover when things get tough. Overall the Lune weakens enemies, the Gustav locks them down, while Mael ensures that the team keeps doing DPS. Then for our second build, this time we are using a team with Gustav, Lune, and Asael. And when you get 4 characters, then the fourth option is your personal preference, and it won't really affect the core of our team. The main idea behind this build is that we're all about sustainable control with the burst damage windows. So Gustav will pull aggro and stabilize the field, then Lune deals explosive damage and supports when needed, while Asael maintains HP flow and smooths out the rough turns. You will get strong turn economy, defensive depth, and magic-driven pressure that keeps enemies on their back foot. It's especially effective in the prolonged fights or boss phases, where the control and healing matter more than the raw speed. So first up we got Gustav, which is your frontline tank and the glue that holds the chaos together. He's built for taunting, absorbing hits and anchoring your tempo. His main rotation is to open with the taunts, then rotate buffs and defensive cooldowns, to create breathing room for the Lune and the Asael. For his weapon we are rocking with the Delaram, that's level 9 and has Vitality on C, and Luck on B. Then for skills we got Lumiere, Assault, which is a simple crit damage dealer that generate charges. Next we got the Overcharge that deals lightning damage based on how many charges we got. Then next we're using the Powerful that applies damage increases to allies and gives us even more charges. Next up we got the Marking Shot that deals damage and applies mark. Then also we got From Fire, which deals damage and self heals for 20% if the enemy is burning. And lastly we got Strike Storm, which deals very high damage and again generates more charges. Next up for pictos we're using the Breaker, Marking Shots, and Attack Lifesteal. All of them are at level 7, but of course this will depend on your progress. And then for luminas we're going with the Dodger, First Strike, Critical Moment, and the SOS Shell. We went with these ones because they will increase our break damage. We'll get to play first and also apply Shell when falling below a certain HP threshold. And then lastly for attributes we got 10 Vitality, 20 Might, and 25 Luck. Then next on our team we got Lune, who brings the burst damage and magical control. Whether it's fire, lightning, or supportive healing, she's your flexible backline caster. I usually start with the buffs like the Immolation, then job the Mayhem or the Elemental Trick, and then weave in some Healing Light or the Revitalization as needed. So let's start off with a weapon, and we got the Trebuchemi, who's level 9 and has a Vitality on B and Luck on C. Then for skills we're rocking the Immolation, which deals fire damage and burns enemies. Then we got the Mayhem, which consumes all stain and deals damage. Then we got the Healing Light, which heals and dispels status effects. Then also we got the Thermal Transfer that deals damage, and if the enemy is burning then it plays a second turn. Then also we got the Elemental Trick, which deals all 4 elemental damages and generates the corresponding stain. And lastly we got the Rock Slide, which deals damage and consumes all elements for increased damage. Next we got the pictos, and we are going with the Auto Shell, Burning Shots, and the Critical Burn, which are all at level 7. And for luminas we are rocking the Dodger, Energizing Star 1, Staggering Attack, Augmented First Strike, and the Draining Cleanse. We went with these because they most importantly will increase our fire damage and the base damage by adding the first turn and more AP. And then for attributes we got 25 Vitality, 5 Might, 5 Agility, and 20 on Luck. And then finally we're using Asael, who is your precision support, by healing, buffing, and offering a high light based mitigation. She's not just a passive healer either. With the right setup, she supercharges your team's survival and tempo. I recommend to time her healing around the Gustav's tanking windows, and keep Luna's momentum flowing with the AP boost or the status cleansing. So for weapon we want to go with the Litosen, that's level 9 and has agility on C and Luck on B. Then for skills we got the Grim Harvest that deals dark damage and heals allies. Then also we got Bad Omen, which also deals dark damage and applies the Fortel effect per each hit. Then next we're using the Marking Card that deals dark damage and applies a mark and the Fortel effect on targets. Then also we got Twilight Dance, which deals extra dark damage and consumes all Fortel effects that deal even more damage. Then next we got the Dark Wave, which deals high dark damage to all enemies in AoV. And lastly we got the Phantom Blade that deals high single target damage and can break on hits. Next up you're using Pictos, and we got the Anti-Burn, Charging Attack, and the Warming Up, While for the luminas, we got the breaking counter, burn affinity, paint and power, and augmented counter 1. We went with these because they give us increased DPS, more charges on base attacks, and increased damage per every turn. And then for attributes we are rocking with 5 vitality, 17 agility, 5 defense and 30 luck. So as for rotation, we want to start fights by opening with the taunts, then rotate buffs and defensive cooldowns to create breathing room for the Luna and Sayel. So then we turn to the Loon to activate buffs like the Immolation, then drop Mayhem, and maybe even weave in some healing light or the revitalization as needed. So then we turn to Loon to activate buffs like Immolation, then drop Mayhem, and maybe even weave in some healing light or the revitalization as needed. And then comes in Sayel to time her healing around the Gustav's tanking windows, and then keep the Loon's momentum flowing with the AP boost or the status cleansing. My recommendation is to always rotate Sayel's healing just after Gustav absorbs big damage, and then time Loon's Mayhem right when the Gustav's taunt will draw multiple enemies together, because this will do massive amounts of AoV damage. And now for the last and final build on our team, we are using the Gustav, Loon, Melee and the Sayel. This build's main idea is to shine in the tempo control and the save scaling. So for example, Gustav will lock enemies in place and create space, then Loon will capitalize on that with the elemental bursts and utility, while Melee speeds everything up, keeping allies stable and fuel combo rotations with insane damage. Together, all of this will create a reactive and efficient loop by taunting, then using spell burst, then accelerating and then rinse and repeat. So first up we got Gustav, which is your frontline tank, crowd controller and the heartbeat of your formation. Gustav will keep enemies off your back while enabling the Luna and the Mael to thrive. For his weapon we are going with the Delaram, that's level 9 and has vitality on C and luck on B. Then for skills we got the Luminaire Assault, which deals crit damage and applies charge. Then next we got the Recovery, that heals and dispels status effects. Then next we got Powerful, which is a buff that increases damage for 3 turns. Next we got a Shatter, which deals lightning damage and can break targets if they're fully charged. Then also we got the Overcharge itself, which deals damage based on the amount of charges we got. And then lastly we have Marking Shot, which deals lightning damage and applies mark. Then next we got Pictos, and we got Dead Energy 2, then Energizing Jump and also Energizing Star 2. While for Luminous we are rocking the Critical Burn, Staggering Attack, SOS Shell, First Strike and Augmented Aim. And lastly for attributes we got 20 Vitality, 15 Might and 20 on Luck. Next on our team we got Loon, which is your main magic damage dealer, packing AoV burst and soft support, which heals and debuffs enemies. Her toolkit with the Earth Rising, Wildfire and Electrify will keep her adaptable and deadly. So for weapon she got Deminarim, that's level 9 and has agility on C and luck on B. Then for skills we're rocking with Immolation, that deals damage and applies burn. Next we got the Earth Rising, which deals earth damage and consumes fire for increased damage. Next we got Electrify, which deals lightning damage and triggers crits. Then also we got Lightning Dance, which obviously deals lightning damage and consumes other elemental effects. Next we got Rock Slide, which deals medium earth damage and can break enemies. And then lastly we got Wildfire, which deals even more fire damage and applies 3 stacks of the burn. Next we got Pictos and we want First Strike, Breaker and Energizing Break. While for Luminous we got Critical Burn, Dead Energy 1, Augmented Counter 2, Energizing Star 1 and SOS Shell. And finally for attributes we want 15 Mind, 15 Agility and 25 Luck. And as I already covered the same Mael and the Sayel setups in the first 2 builds, so I won't show again the same things again not to waste your time. So then finally for rotations, we want to lead fights with Gustav's taunt, then follow with the Loon's AoV while the enemies are grouped up, then use Mael to manipulate AP and give Luna extra turns when you want to double cast or chain her to burst into a heal. And then lastly rotate healing duties between the Mael and Loon, depending on who's free that turn. This saves cooldowns for offensive pressure, and you will be able to deal more damage over longer period of time. So let me know what you think about these builds in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous top 3 best builds video, where I showed even more powerful builds. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.